Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets. I'm your host, DJ Mitchell, here for the post Super Bowl. So now no more football. First slate that we're going to get of action. We only got 4 games on Monday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, if you will. I hope many of you are going to probably be like me, not watching as much hockey as we may have wanted originally, but enjoying some quality time with someone that you enjoy, or if not, maybe some friends, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. But we're here to talk about the 4-game slate. We're starting with the game in Minnesota. I'm wearing my Matt Dumba jersey right now. It's Detroit at Minnesota. Minnesota is a massive favorite here, to be expected, I would say. Detroit's been pretty bad. I think they are bad. And Minnesota at home minus 230. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think that Minnesota is probably going to win here, and like minus 230 isn't egregious, I guess, to take. But I don't know if I really want to be putting a ton of money on it. I mean, Minnesota did beat Carolina. Carolina was on a really long away from home streak, and they, kind of had a bit of a scare. Minnesota gets it done 3-2. They're rolling. I mean, yeah, I think it's fine. Over 5.5 at minus 130. I think this is a fair spot to take the over. I think it's going to get to 6, as I'm already indicating, by the minus 130. So I think you may be able to tease it up if you want to 6. I think the over is okay. I don't think it's incredibly strong, but I think it's justifiable. But I mean, I think really if you're going to take Minnesota, you might as well take the puck line at plus 105. They're minus 1.5. They've been that good, and I don't have a ton of faith in time for this Detroit team. I don't think they're going to really have too much to hold a stick up to for the top 6 in Minnesota, who really did outplay Carolina a bit more than that final score indicated. The expected goals was about 3.1 to 1.8. Their defense is really, really good, which is why the over-under makes me a touch nervous. And I'm not in love with it, because you need Detroit to find a way to score. Last game out for Detroit, they had Zadina, Larkin, and Raymond as the top line in Detroit, and that stuck in practice. Bertuzzi, Suter, and Farabee with the line 2. So they're kind of splitting the wealth there, and it's fine. I mean, yeah, the Detroit's an okay team. They beat Philadelphia 4-2. They're not terrible. They have a few guys I'm really excited about for the future, but overall, not a team that I think has much of a chance here against Minnesota. I think you could take the puck line, but that's really not. I don't think I'm going to have much in this game. I think that Minnesota shot props are very in play. Kaprizov had 1 million against Carolina. I love him here. No matter what it is, I like him to score again. I like, multi-points, stuff like that. That's a bit more interesting, but nothing else is screaming value here. But the next game, Toronto at Seattle. Toronto only minus 190 against a not very good Seattle team. I really like Toronto here. I really like the puck line plus 125. I think that's kind of where I'm starting here, is betting both of those. I'm taking them straight, taking them with a couple other things, but I think Toronto has a chance here to really do some damage against a Seattle team that just doesn't project well to have a lot of offense. And Toronto's defense has just been better, like plain and simple. They grossly outplayed Vancouver in a 3-2 loss, expected 5 goals. They had 1 million shots on net. Marner and Matthews were unreal. Matthews had, 100 shot attempts. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 shot attempts. Just insane stuff from him. And I really don't see it being much different. I think that this team is going to go out, roll again. I'm going to be having Marners and Matthews in all of my lineups. I'm going to have Matthew multi-goal game is probably going to make its way into my mix. I love him here a ton, and I have no reason to indicate why they couldn't win by 2 goals. Other than it's on the road. It's the only thing that maybe you could talk yourself into it. Like, I guess Seattle did burn me pretty bad on Friday. Anaheim absolutely smashed them. 4 expected goals to 2.3, and the final was 4-3 Seattle. That's what happens. It ruined my parlay. It ruined my favorite bet of the night. Watching they hit the post twice. Anaheim just couldn't get it done, and then Eberle buries me late. What are you gonna do? It's tough to see, but there was not a win by Seattle that you're like, oh man, this was an impressive team that just came out there, and it was a team that got Gibson on a bad night, and they buried their chances. And Ryan Donato was the Ryan Donato that I know and love, and hopefully continues to see the run that he deserves. He only had 14 minutes and 2 goals. Riddle you that, but he actually saw a good run on the power play, which is all I really need on the top unit for them to consider him in DFS. So that would be maybe a bring back if you want to say it's somewhat competitive, but I think Toronto, the puck line is one of my favorite bets of the entire night for sure. I really like them here at plus money. I just in a puck line, let's do it. Game 3 is Chicago at Winnipeg. Winnipeg is, I think I mentioned this on the last time we really talked about them deeply. They've been the team that's burned me the most. And finally, since the All-Star break, they've looked like the team that I expected. We saw them, win 5-2 against Nashville. They had a ton of time on the power play. Connor had 26 minutes of ice time. Morrissey saw all of the first unit work. Wheeler had I think 4 points. Scheifele, Dubois. I mean, those 5 guys saw so much run, and they were so good that I really do think you could very easily justify stacking them here against a Chicago team on a small slate. Like, that is what I want in a 4-man stack. So I think I'll make a couple different lineup variations, and because it's gonna be really hard to get a lot of Winnipeg with Marner and Matthews. That just, I don't even think could possibly work with the pricing. But Winnipeg isn't insanely, Scheifele 5,800. If you play Scheifele, Wheeler, Connor, and Morrissey, Connor's the one that's going to break the bank for you. And you jam in Matthews. I'm just going to try it out really quickly just to see if it has any chance. Matthews and Marner, and play the cheapest goalie that you can that isn't going to hurt you. Let's just, for sake of argument, say Nedeljkovic. And it doesn't work. So you're going to have to find it. Probably take Connor out or Matthews or something there. But those are definitely my top 2 stacks of the night. And we haven't even gotten to Edmonton yet, which I think is a very close third. But on this slate, I do think it's very important that you're getting those. You're trying to maximize a 4-man stack, and Winnipeg gives you the best option for that with Connor, Scheifele, Wheeler, Dubois, and Morrissey. As those 5, you could mix and match together. I think you could do Scheifele, Wheeler, Morrissey as a 3 and include Dubois instead of Connor to get different, but that's going to hurt you as far. Now you only have your utility left for a center spot, which is a little bit different. So with everything I just said, those 5 guys are really all I'm considering from Winnipeg for props. I don't know if there's anyone that is infinitely more likely to hit. I mean, Connor is clearly the guy that's going to take the most shots, but you're going to get him at 3.5 or 4 comparatively to a Dubois, who also had a ton of shots and scored twice, I believe, in the last game, or scored at least once. You might be able to get him at 2.5, and I think he should see a good enough run that he could get it done for you. So I really like those 2 a lot. Wheeler, not the best rate shooter, so I don't really expect to see him as a guy that I'm going to go back to, even though he had a monster night. That guy's had 4 points, and I believe he had a ton of shot attempts as well, which is very uncharacteristic for him. They finished the game with 8 shots on goal, which has to be the most he's had in 3 years. And I mean that, it's not exaggeration. That clearly is probably the most he's had in over 2 years. So yeah, that I think it's fine, but I think you can play him. He's cheap enough that he's going to be piled on a bit, but he's cheap enough that you definitely jam him in your lineups. Blake Wheeler, again, his price on DraftKings is only 4.6. Very good value on the slate that you could put in, like I said, with that mix of Winnipeg guys, which is going to be probably my favorite. And for that reason, I guess minus 165 is fine. I think I'll probably end up pairing that with a Toronto puck line as 2 of my more sought after bets of the entire night. And the over under, I'm good with the over, but 5.5 seems fine. I don't know if I'm going to get crazy on it though. Fleury's been good enough as of late, and Hellebuck's been fantastic. I don't think you have to do it. But if you're kind of hoping the Fleury well breaks again after, it did against St. Louis where he gave up 5, and you go back to that. Yeah, it's definitely doable, but I don't think it's as strong as just taking Winnipeg straight up. So final game of the night, Edmonton at the Sharks. We haven't seen the Sharks in a long time. They have not played since the All-Star break, if I recall correctly. And I can not even recall, I just checked, but yeah, they haven't played in a bit here. So I'm pretty okay with not taking either money line here. Edmonton minus 140. I just don't really think you have to do it on the road. I definitely think you can do it. But you're talking about a team, like I said, they haven't played since February 1st. They're at home. It's in San Jose. I just don't think you need to be playing this here. Edmonton's been real suspect as far as betting in any game at all. I do love this over though. This is probably my favorite over the entire night at over 6. It projects the best for me to have the most, expected goals, and Edmonton's pace has been incredibly high. So I do love the over here. putting it as my third leg of my favorite 3 bets of the night. So I would take that over touching the money lines here. That seems pretty strong. Edmonton in their last game against the Islanders won 3-1. They ran 11 forwards, 7 defensemen, and they gave 2 of those forwards 7 minutes apiece. So McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, Hyman, Kane, and Yamamoto and Puljujärvi saw a lot of run. McDavid was with Hyman and Puljujärvi, but also saw time with Kane and Draisaitl. So you saw a lot of run with all those guys. The disappointing feature to this was Evan Bouchard, who was still in the first power play, only saw 14 minutes with the 11-7. I think you could definitely try to get Darnell Nurse in the mix if you want to make a 4-man stack and you're fading the Toronto and maybe getting some of the cheaper action on Winnipeg, not including Connor. Like that lineup construction makes a lot of sense for me. But I do think like if you're taking Edmonton, it's really difficult to pin down exactly what you want to do here. So to walk you through it, I think you're looking at the first power play and you're saying, okay, Bouchard, Draisaitl, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Puljujärvi. So your best correlation there is McDavid, Puljujärvi to get the 2 men that are 5-on-5 and the power play 1. I think Nurse could see a bit more time on the top unit. Like they kind of seem to split it between Nurse, Barry, and Bouchard, who kind of all saw time with them, but Bouchard had the most. I think Nurse makes sense here because it's going to get you different. I think he'll be probably, as far as like upper priced players at 5,900, he'll probably be pretty overlooked. Just because he doesn't have the top power play time. And with all these really expensive forwards, people will probably make a concession on defense and take some cheaper options like a Tyson Barrie at 3,100. Some people might see the game log and say, well, yeah, he played 19 minutes. He got more than, a lot of those other, like you can jam him in here and he sees power play time. And I just, I'd rather get away from that ownership and go with a guy like Darnell Nurse, who is, I believe, the most expensive defenseman in this game. He's the 3rd on the entire slate. And I just really don't think he's going to garner a ton of ownership because we have McDavid, Matthews, Marner, Connor, Draisaitl. There's a lot of guys to spend up on. So that is one narrative where if I'm building 3, maybe 4 or 5 lineups, I'm going to make sure I have a 4-man Edmonton that includes Nurse because I think it'll be a bit contrarian. So with all that being said, I'm going to give it again and I'm going to bet it right here, right now. Puck line for Toronto, Winnipeg money line, and over in the Edmonton San Jose game. Oh my God, sorry, my screen's being blocked. So those are my favorite. I'm probably going to do all combos those in a round robin and go from there. And I'm still going to do that bonus video. I haven't forgotten. I just kind of been tied up with a bunch of stuff. I'll do a bonus video at some point, maybe a couple, but just kind of wanted to get through football season. I thought like at the All-Star break for the NBA would be the best time while people are kind of getting into the DFS and just hockey in general. I'll probably get out a little bit more content for that, but enjoy the Super Bowl. Wear my Browns hat as well. Next year's the year. Any Browns fans out there, I'm sure you're thinking the same. It's coming for us, but enjoy. Hopefully you won a ton of money on the Super Bowl and you're ready to just jam Toronto puck line. And I'll talk to you on Friday.